The Nasty Boys are a professional wrestling tag team consisting of Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs, active from the mid to late 1980s and throughout the 1990s. Their gimmick was that of antisocial punks who specialized in hardcore wrestling and brawling. They were noted for their distinctive all-black, street look, which, while very commonplace among today's wrestlers, was vastly different from the colorful attire of their wrestling peers of the late 1980s and early 1990s. This included graffiti-sprayed t-shirts, chain-adorned leather trench coats, and their distinctive mullet hawk haircuts. Career: American Wrestling Association and Florida Championship Wrestling. Unlike most professional wrestling tag teams, Jerry, Biff, Saggs and Brian, Buff, Knobbs were childhood friends who put themselves together. They began their careers in the American Wrestling Association in 1985 and began teaming together as the Nasty Boys in 1986. They first started moving up the cards while in Memphis, as a heel team against the face team of the Midnight Rockers. In 1988, they moved to Florida Championship Wrestling, where they won 5 tag team championships between 1989 and 1990. While they were in Memphis, Jerry Lawler gave them the idea to change their look, so Saggs and Knobbs decided to cover their bodies. They also painted their faces, but they dropped the face paint when wrestling outside of Memphis. World Championship Wrestling. First run in 1990, the Nasty Boys joined World Championship Wrestling. They initially feuded with the Steiner brothers, but were unable to defeat them for the United States Tag Team Championship. World Wrestling Federation. The Nasty Boys left WCW in December 1990 and joined the World Wrestling Federation. Along with their manager Jimmy Hart, they announced their intention to nasty-size the WWF. After becoming the #1 contenders by winning a 7-team Battle Royal on the February 16, 1991 airing of Superstars of Wrestling, they defeated the Hart Foundation for the WWF World Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania 7. They held the titles until SummerSlam 1991, when they were defeated by the Legion of Doom in a no disqualification, no countout match. They then feuded with the Rockers and the Bushwhackers, leading to a match at Survivor Series 91 where they teamed with the Beverly Brothers to defeat both teams. In the early part of 1992, the Nasty Boys had a feud with the team of Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Sergeant Slaughter, culminating in an 8-man tag team match at WrestleMania 8, where Duggan, Slaughter, Big Boss Man and Virgil defeated the Nasty Boys. The Mountie and Repo Man. Through the spring and summer, Knobbs and Saggs feuded with the new team of High Energy. That fall, they turned face and dumped Jimmy Hart as their manager, feuding with Hart's new team of Money Inc. over the tag team titles. They teamed with the Natural Disasters to defeat Money Inc. and the Beverly Brothers at Survivor Series 92, but were unable to regain the titles. In April 1993, after a European tour, they were suspended, and later fired from the company. World Championship Wrestling. Second run. The Nasty Boys returned to WCW in July 1993. Managed by Missy Hyatt, they defeated Arn Anderson and Paul Roma at Fall Brawl 1993 to become WCW World Tag Team Champions. They would then lose the titles on October 4 to Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Too Cold Scorpio before regaining them on October 24. In 1994, they fought Cactus Jack and Max Payne in a series of wild brawls, which Payne later described as not far away from gladiator days. They were supposed to engage in a feud with Kevin Sullivan and his dyslexic brother Dave, who called himself Evade. Evade, however, injured his knee, and Sullivan convinced Cactus Jack to team with him. The Nasties lost the titles to the Thrown Together team of Jack and Sullivan in a wild Philly street fight at Slamboree 1994. As a result of the intense brawls, the Nasty Boys soon turned face. Knobbs and Saggs went on to feud with tag teams such as Harlem Heat and the Blue Bloods. At Slamboree 1995, they defeated Harlem Heat to become three-time WCW Tag Team Champions, but eventually dropped the titles back to them soon after. In 1996, the New World Order offered them membership into the NWO, but attacked them as soon as they received their NWO t-shirts. In the subsequent match against Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, Sags became enraged during the contest after being struck on the head with what he thought was a chair. He had thought Hall had him and retaliated by attacking him and knocking him out. After the match, Sags filed a lawsuit. He later saw footage and found out it was Nash that had hit him with a tag belt. He was released from his contract in early 1997 and retired. After Sags' release, Knobbs began pursuing the WCW Hardcore Championship. Independent circuit. The Nasty Boys were briefly reunited in the short-lived XWF and the World Wrestling Council in Puerto Rico. Since retirement, the boys have both appeared on Hogan Knows Best and the WWE magazine's Where Are They Now? section. On November 20, 2007, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags reformed at the WWE SmackDown tapings from Tampa, Florida to wrestle their first WWE match in 14 years. On November 21, 2009, they were involved with the Hulkamania Let the Battle Begin Australian Tour event in Melbourne, Australia, and wrestled and defeated Reno Anoa'i and Vampire Warrior in an Australian street fight. Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. On January 4, 2010, the Nasty Boys made their debut appearance on Total Nonstop Action Wrestling's television show, TNA Impact, where they trashed Team 3D's locker room during their absence from the show while in Japan. This initiated a feud, with both teams exchanging physical onslaughts with one another. On the January 21 edition of Impact, the Nasty Boys competed in their first match for TNA, defeating the team of Eric Young and Kevin Nash. At Against All Odds, the Nasty Boys defeated Team 3D in a tag team match. When Jimmy Hart made his return to the company and interfered in the match on the Nasty Boys' behalf. On the February 25 edition of Impact, Team 3D defeated the Nasty Boys in a tables match, when Jesse Neal interfered on Team 3D's behalf. The Nasty Boys and Hart continued their feud with Team 3D by defeating them in the returning Brother Runt, a replacement for Jesse Neal, whom the Nasties attacked prior to the match, in a six-man tag team match. After the match, Neal attacked the Nasties and helped Team 3D put Sags through a table. On March 29, 2010, news broke that the Nasty Boys had been released by TNA following an incident at a TNA function with Spike executives present. Reputation. The Nasty Boys have a reputation of being very stiff with their opponents. They have also been involved in several legitimate fights with other wrestlers, also ribbing them. In 1997, a match between the Nasty Boys and the Outsiders degenerated into a shoot. On November 20, 2007, on their return match to SmackDown, they worked stiff with Dave Taylor and Drew McIntyre. Professional wrestler Mick Foley described the Nasty Boys in his autobiography as sloppy as hell, and more than a little dangerous. But they knew how to brawl. In wrestling, double team finishing moves, double DDT, death drop, trip to Nastyville. Double team signature moves aided powerbomb clubberine, named by Dusty Rhodes, who, while commentating, would announce to his partner Tony Schiavone, "They be clubberine, Tony." Irish whip assisted corner splash, pit stop, Pity City. Managers Jimmy Hart, Missy Hyatt. Entrance themes: Nasty by Janet Jackson, Jamming in the Past, Nasty Rap, Nasty Sized, Good Man, We're the Boys. Championships and accomplishments: American Wrestling Association Our Southern Tag Team Championship, Championship Wrestling International CWI Tag Team Championship, National Wrestling Alliance NWA Florida Tag Team Championship, North American Wrestling Association, South Atlantic Pro Wrestling NAWA, SAPW Tag Team Championship, Pro Wrestling Illustrated PWI Tag Team of the Year award. In 1994, PWI ranked them number 53 of the best tag teams of the PWI years. In 2003, Professional Wrestling Federation PWF Tag Team Championship, World Championship Wrestling, WCW World Tag Team Championship, World Wrestling Federation WWF World Tag Team Championship, X Wrestling Federation XWF World Tag Team Championship.